it's Ursula from ursula-smith.com, and today I am once again playing around with Yupo Paper cutouts. These are designs that I've cut on the Silhouette Curio out of Yupo Paper, which is kind of a plasticky material. It cuts beautifully, super intricate, detailed, even teeny tiny, which I was never able to really do with regular paper and cardstock. As well as the Yupo paper. So the one drawback of the Yupo paper is because it's plasticky, it's really hard to come on top of it with water-based media. It doesn't stick as well. So if you're using it in a project, you want to color it, it doesn't work quite as well. So especially since I have some of Tim Holtz spray stains and I was really excited to try using them, I really wanted to make it work with the Yupo paper cutouts. So today's experiment is using matte medium. And so I will be putting that on top of the Yupo paper cutouts and we will see how it goes from there. So thanks for joining me, and here comes the experiment. Hi, it's Ursula from ursula-smith.com, and in previous videos I have been playing around with Yupo paper cutouts that I cut on the Silhouette because it cuts really well, so I can do very intricate details. And then I covered it with different mediums. So in this case I used light molding paste, got some good texture, lots of coverage just by using dye-based distress spray stains as well as pigment-based distress oxide sprays. And this is a couple of different layers of color because I had gone with the blue-greens originally and then came back over the backgrounds with more of the rusty oranges to make it look more like rust. So that's the light molding paste. Then I did another experiment where I used gesso in the same manner. Got a little bit lighter value in color. These areas here are a couple of layers of the distress spray stains, the dye-based. So it still held on to the color, just a lighter value. So again, remember these cutouts are made from Yupo paper, which in general, if I sprayed uncoated, those distress spray stains and especially the oxide sprays would not stick. You might get a little bit of color coverage, but most of it would wipe off. So today's experiment, I'm going to try matte medium, and I'm doing it a little bit differently, just by the fact that I put some repositionable adhesive on the back of the Yupo cutout so that I hopefully get a more like a better impression behind it without the medium floating under the edges. So I'm using the matte medium in the same manner that I did before, where I'm just basically wiping it across the top of my cutout and the background paper. And again, hopefully this time the image will be a little more crisp because of the repositionable adhesive. And if you see a slight coloring to the matte medium, it's because I didn't clean my paintbrush when I put it into the matte medium the last time I used it. So it's slightly covered now. All right, and then as in the previous cases, I'm just going to lift off the cutout and let that dry. It's a little more difficult to lift off, but a little bit crisper impression of the cutout. So I'm going to let that dry and I will be back. Hi, I'm back, and it seems like the matte medium has mostly dried. So again, I'm going to use different combinations of the distress oxide spray and the distress spray stain. So this is the pigment one. It will react with the spray stains and water, but it definitely is a lighter value than the spray stains itself. So I'm just going to come over, that was Mermaid Lagoon. I'm going to do the sage, bundled sage, or actually this is Shabby Shutters. So a little bit more green. And then I'm going to come back over with some of the plain dye-based, which a little more intense color. Again, that was Mermaid Lagoon. This one's Peeled Paint. And then just for grins and giggles, I'm going to go back to some Oxide spray in the Rusty Hinge. Just a couple of quick spritzes. And don't forget, once again, clean off that pump before you put the cap back on. And I'm going to let it dry, and I will be back. Hi, I'm back, and I wanted to show you the final results after everything had dried with the matte medium over Yupo and a piece of cardstock. I liked it. It probably came out somewhere in the middle in terms of tones, but well, maybe not. So I went back over it a little bit more and add a little bit more of the spray stain, Mermaid Lagoon. This was the molding paste, so that came out pretty dark. That it was a couple of coats of the color, but still pretty dark. This was the gesso examples, so a little bit lighter in value. These areas here I went over a second time, so did ultimately pick up a little more ink. And then this was the matte medium, again a little bit darker in tone, so if you want a lot of color, a good choice. It does not you should not take a heating, like a heat gun to it to help dry, especially with the Yupo, because it will start melting. I don't know if you can see, it's a little bent. It does take a long time to dry. I basically had to leave it overnight for it to fully dry. And I didn't love the way that middle section, the leftover imprint came out. So I probably would layer, not this particular one, but probably a different color, maybe something more in the orange tones over that spot. So in any event, ultimately I think I do like the matte medium. It's a little slicker than the gesso and definitely slicker than the texture left by the molding paste, but still another option. So hope that helps. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.